Too much studying and not enough sleep was making me feel like a zombie. Chocolate would help, right? So I drowsily walked downstairs. Huh? Why was my whole family there with their suitcases? Are you guys going somewhere? Yes, Colorado for a ski trip. That's awesome! You're the best, Daddy! Not you, Helen. You have studying to do. And this is a special award for Christine for winning her scholarship. What? So you're just going to leave me out because of some meaningless grades? This is so unfair. Ugh! Whatever. I don't even need them to go with me. Shh. Come here. And I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I can go to the ski resort by myself and have way more fun. But how, you ask? It's called lucid dreaming. I first heard about it through the biggest buzz movie, Inception, and realized that I've had experienced the same things before. Since then, I've become an expert at this. So before I go to bed, I just have to write a script saying where I want to go, with whom, what I want to do, and 3, 2, 1. I'm asleep and living my best life. In fact, I could say that those beautiful self-designed dreams are like meditation to me. Because, to be honest, my real life is tedious. No matter how hard I tried, I was no match for my younger half-sister, Christine. In my dad and grandma's eyes, a child of a doctor in physics, as well as a grandchild of a history professor, should automatically be a walking encyclopedia or something. But unfortunately, I didn't excel at the academic side of life. Ugh. They treat Christine like this precious gemstone and me like some boring old rock. Every week usually entails her getting excellent grades or winning some reward, and all of my family lavishing her with gifts and praise, while I'm treated like an outsider in my own family. Ugh! Just thinking about it makes me want to scream. So, they want me to stay home and concentrate on tomorrow's test, huh? Nah, you wish. So instead, I grabbed my pen and started writing tonight's awesome dream script. Let's see. That's right. The obnoxious Roger dared to heartlessly throw the candy I gave him in the trash, even though he'd been flirting with me. What a jerk. I will definitely retaliate against him tonight. Lying in bed, I closed my eyes and repeated this sentence. I'm going to kick him out of my life. And you won't believe it. In the dream, he kept chasing me like crazy, but I totally blanked him. Helen, wake up! Time's running out! My best friend Gabby kicked my chair and I jolted awake. Oh no, there were only 5 minutes left. I frantically ticked on the paper and hurriedly submitted it to the monitor. Hey, did you not get any sleep or something? Well, I stayed up late writing the script for my dream. It was worth it as I got payback on Roger. What if you get a bad grade? Never mind. I'll be fine when I come home tonight with an A+ dream. But things turned out not to be as simple as I thought. That afternoon when I arrived home, I was about to sneak up to my bedroom to write my next amazing script when someone grabbed my bag strap and pulled me back. It was Grandma and Dad, and both of them seemed to be mad. How long are you going to live like this? Education is important to this family, yet you don't seem to care. Do you realize this week alone your teacher has contacted me 3 times? But Dad, I really don't like those boring subjects. I only like no more drawing or writing your silly stories. You need to focus on your studies, else you'll end up a useless person like... She suddenly stopped, which made me curious. Like who? But neither she nor my dad said anything. They just quietly walked away, leaving me alone. Honestly, I never wanted to disappoint them that much. So this time I was going to try my best to not let them down. Dad! Grandma! Look! I got a B+ in my math test. No one cared what I said. My stepmom cuddled Christine and looked at her with sparkling eyes. My wonderful daughter. I know the top student award is just a piece of cake to you, unlike someone else. Then she turned to me and tutted, Helen, please, you're making a show of yourself. That's embarrassing. My face fell, and I forced back tears. But I tried so hard to get this grade. A B+ is nothing to be proud of. I chucked my exam paper in the trash, then stormed up to my room. It didn't matter what I did or how hard I tried. This household would always treat me like a loser. Dream on, Helen. Go back to your happy place. In front of me was the crimson sunset sky. I'd been scripting this moment for so long, lounging lazily on the beach without anyone complaining. But suddenly the sky darkened, and the inky clouds seemed intent on swallowing me. Huh? What was going on? This wasn't a part of the script. Terrified, I ran into a forest, but it was so dark and spooky here, and I tripped over a branch and fell. Ouch! As I rubbed my ankle and started crying my eyes out, suddenly a strange woman appeared. She took me into a wooden house at the end of the forest and gently helped bandage me up. This woman, well, she didn't scare me at all. Instead, I felt warm around her. Curious, I tried to take a closer look at her face, but then I suddenly woke up and realized tears were rolling down my cheeks. What a strange dream. I immediately drew all the things I'd seen, that forest, that house, but strangely, I couldn't remember that woman's face. Why are you drawing all this nonsense? My dad snatched the sketch from my hand and looked at it frowning. It appeared in my dream and... Get rid of them all. From now on, if I see you wasting your time on these stupid drawings again, there will be consequences. This was too much. I couldn't live without drawing. It was the only thing keeping me sane. I had to get out of here, live my way. Forget them and their stupid standards. I would create my own world. I planted myself in Gabby's room, and this is where I've been for almost a week. Luckily, Gabby's parents are totally chill with me staying. As for my family, they haven't messaged me once. And yes, dreams do go on. But now I dreaded going to sleep as my lucid dreams were still all messed up. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes bad. And for the most part, it did not turn out the way I wanted it to anymore. Until one day, that creepy forest appeared again. No matter how much I screamed to wake myself up, I still couldn't get out of that nightmare. Panicked, I kept running and running in the hope of finding a safe place till I saw that woman. And once again, she reached out her hand to help me. This time, I wouldn't miss my chance. I looked carefully at her face, remembering every detail, and as soon as I woke up, I drew her. Wow, I didn't know you watched this kind of show. Gabby giggled. What show? Look, she's a celebrity. She hosts some TV show that my mom watches sometimes. So, that woman is a real person? If so, I have to find her. I didn't really know what was going on, only that there was something tying me to this woman and I needed to figure this out. Luckily, Gabby has an uncle who works at the studio, and he gave us special passes to meet this host in the flesh. When the cameras stopped filming, she turned and saw me, and her eyes widened in alarm. Helen? Helen, is it really you? Then she rushed over and hugged me. Huh? What did she just say? We didn't know each other, and the weird thing is, this hug didn't feel strange at all. Instead, I felt the same warmth as when she'd taken care of me in my dream. As she loosened her embrace on me and gave me this beaming smile, I said, and you are? Darling, it's me, your mother. That's when I realized something. Of course, she was my mom. Look, we had the same eyes. Needless to say, this was a huge shock. We hugged each other for a long time in tears. Then Mom took me backstage, got me a glass of water, then she told me everything. So after I was born, Mom once got caught up in a cheating scandal. Dad was angry about the damage this would do to his career, so he kicked her out of the house and wouldn't let her see me. A long time later, she found out that Grandma was behind everything, just because she didn't approve of this marriage, so she came up with that plan. But why didn't you ever try to find me when you've always been living this close? Oh, no, sweetie. I've always kept an eye on you. One time, years ago, I saw you playing in the park. You had your hair in pigtails and... I tried to approach you, but your dad threatened me. He is a very powerful man who's actually capable of destroying my life. And I didn't think it was fair to drag you through all of that. But things have changed now. I'll never leave you alone, ever again. I strolled into the house like normal, and everyone stopped what they were doing and glared at me with disgust. Oh, you're back. If you're not prepared to study properly, then don't bother staying. I took a deep breath, then said, You can't treat me like this anymore. I try my best, and it's not fair that you punish me for just being me. So I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back. Where will you go? That's when Mom walked in. Oh God, you should have seen the looks on their faces. Grandma actually looked like she'd swallowed a swarm of wasps. I stood by and let you manipulate and control me. Well, no more. I'm taking my daughter, and we're going to have the life we both deserve. Then, ignoring their angry words, she grabbed my arm and led me out of there. So that's the moment when I left home and moved in with my mom. Now I draw as much as I want. In fact, Mom's letting me create a mural on the living room wall. It's going to be epic when it's finished. Oh, and about the lucid dreams, I don't write scripts anymore. Instead, I realize that I'm better off focusing on my reality and making myself the best version of myself I can be. After all, as great as a dream world can be, it's nowhere near as good as experiencing life firsthand. So, here I am, practicing this tricky pose. I must not fall over.
Rosie, straighten your back. Hang in there. You've got this.
That's Bradley, my yoga instructor. Can you see that? There are more than a dozen people in this class, yet he only seems to encourage me. Did this mean he liked me? I didn't need to look in a mirror to know my cheeks were lobster red right now. I'm Rosie, by the way, 18 years old. I'm still single. Not to brag, but I know I'm kind of pretty, friendly, and fun to be around. So it's easy to tell that many guys are into me. But why do none of them ever dare to confess their feelings to me? What were they so afraid of? Take Bradley, for instance. He clearly liked me, but was too shy to admit it. It was so obvious as he kept deterring past my mat just so he could check out my position. Even my best friend Joseph noticed that, as every time Bradley approached, Joseph would have this cheeky smirk on and send me signals with his eyes. I already told him not to do that. After class, Joseph kept teasing me about it. He told me Bradley definitely had feelings for me and just needed one more push for leverage. Although I reluctantly told him to stop, he insisted on being the wingman by texting Bradley about me.
Bradley, why don't you ask Rosie out? You two look really cute together. Come on, you know that wouldn't work. Huh? Why not? Because, Joseph, it's you I'm crazy about.
I was not okay. What was the problem with all the men around me? Why didn't they like me? I couldn't go on like this. I must have a boyfriend, and I was dead serious about it. So after researching online, I found a dating coach to save me from my tragic single situation. So Martin, my coach, is super handsome, has a six-pack, and his business is a big hit. He's helped hundreds of sad single people find love. Flashy enough to trust, isn't it? Still, I was quite nervous when I met him. You know, the feeling that a therapist would judge you before treating you. But actually, he was reassuring, very open, and didn't ask too many questions.
Let's just be open about this, all right? Manipulating someone into dating you is not the foundation to a healthy relationship. But don't worry, as I have the secret.
Day 1. And according to Martin, I needed to learn how to approach new people. I'm pretty shy, so taking the initiative was hard for me. But Martin taught me a trick. When I see a cute guy, I need to approach him within 3 seconds. This way my brain wouldn't have time to think, analyze, then talk myself out of it, and end up missing my chance. Okay, a hot guy was there staring at his phone. I must not overthink. 1, 2, 3, go. Hi!
Hi?
So I just saw you, and I think you're really hot. I'm here to say hi. Thanks for thinking my boyfriend's hot, but he's taken. I panicked, then rushed back to Martin and spluttered out, I can't.
Hey, that was a success. You're just training your mind and body to take action. Go ahead.
No way. Should we move to the next step? And this was the next step. I just needed to start a conversation in this place where everyone was in a mood to have a chat.
It's simple, Rosie. Put yourself in a talkative mood. Go over to them and give them a compliment. But make sure it's genuine, else it won't count, okay?
Got it. I spotted a man sitting alone, so I walked over to him. Hey, I like your ring. OMG, was that a wedding ring?
Don't worry. I'm single. And is it that hard to think of something to compliment me on?
And, you are smarter than you look. And yep, he left. Oh, what kind of compliment was that? Martin sat in a corner and watched me go from guy to guy and stutter out a string of terrible compliments.
You did great, Rosie. Don't be discouraged. Now, when you actually see someone you like, you'll be more natural.
Martin said that body language is a crucial part of keeping the conversation going. So, the plan was to practice this at Joseph's birthday party. This time Martin couldn't be there in person, but we still stayed in touch via my Bluetooth earphones so he could guide me. The mission today was to initiate physical contact with someone and make them feel close to me. Anyone who knows me knows that I am not good with these things. So I kept giving them this weird slap on the back.
Hey, I heard an ouch. Are you hitting them? I said just a light tap.
I don't think I can do this. I'm too shy. And now guys are giving me weird looks. Martin said this time I should make the boys take the initiative, and then things would come more naturally. Okay, I'll give it one last try. This boy I like, Nathan, is over by the pool, but he's in a group.
Nothing to worry about. You'll make him come to you. Now listen and follow.
I walked over to the bar and made sure I was in Nathan's eyesight, sat as naturally as possible, made eye contact with him, and smiled. Oh, Martin, this is stupid. He doesn't even know me.
Just wait.
OMG. He's waving at me. Should I come now?
No. Wave him over.
Okay. You should take responsibility for this, Martin. I waved Nathan over. Then, to my surprise, he got up and started walking toward me. OMG, help, what should I do?
Give a no-tooth smile. Then say, I just want to say hi.
What? That was all? But he was coming closer and I had no choice. I just want to say hi.
And I want to have your phone number, cutie.
I couldn't believe it. That was a real success. We texted the whole night. We got on so well. He was clearly flirting with me. This is crazy. But then 2 weeks passed by and I didn't hear from him at all. I kept on looking at my phone, expecting Nathan to call, but he never did. So I immediately rang my coach for help.
Ready for the bad news? So, that means he doesn't like you. A busy man like Napoleon could still write thousands of romantic love letters to his Josephine. If he was into you, he'd always find a way. And I also think he doesn't seem like a good type to date.
What? Nathan is such a sweet guy. Maybe he's just super busy? But then Christmas came and I couldn't wait any longer. I mustered up the courage to ask Nathan out. But guess what? He invited me to his house to enjoy Christmas with his family instead. Oh, wow. He wanted to introduce me to his family. This was massive. It meant he really took our relationship seriously, didn't he? But when we got to Nathan's place, to my surprise, it was just a small apartment and definitely not big enough for a whole family. Seeing my confused look, Nathan said his family must have changed their plans and went out, which was for the better as the two of us would have more time together. Suddenly, I saw a shadow of a girl in a red dress in his bedroom. Then Nathan immediately pulled me away and said,
that's my maid. How annoying. So, do you want to go to the hotel so we can have more time alone?
Really? Did he think I was born yesterday? I refused immediately, and Nathan began to change his attitude.
Okay, but I can't drive you home. I have something urgent. But don't worry, I'll take you to the nearby bus stop.
I have never felt so stupid. Martin was right. Nathan wasn't serious about me. He just wanted to use me. But what went wrong? I did everything I could, but I kept failing again and again. No one liked me. I called Martin in tears, and he ended up driving there to pick me up right on Christmas Eve. I felt like the most tragic person ever. Martin was so patient. He turned the radio on so loud and didn't say anything until I finished crying and calmed down.
Misread the signals again, huh?
How could I have known?
Well, I'm not saying this to make money off you, but looking at the current situation, I think you need to hire me for longer than you think.
My love life may have sucked, but at least I had Martin. Here's my hope. He was the best coach ever, as he didn't mind answering my questions, and he always picked up the phone whether it was office hours or midnight. Then one night I was out with my friends. I drank a few too many wines and phoned Martin up and slurred out a load of drunken nonsense. He immediately came to pick me up and drove me home, saying that he needed to make sure I got home safely. He was such a sweet guy. I felt something, but then reassured myself that he was just being nice. But Joseph insisted that Martin was only acting this way because he liked me. Seeing everything he did, and you still have to wonder about his feelings? Dummy. Believe me, I'm not wrong this time. Mr. Sixpack is crazy about you. Congrats. Thinking about it, it did make sense. So I started stalking my coach on social media and daydreaming about him. Then taking Martin's own advice that I needed to make my feelings known. So, on Valentine's night, I myself made this box of chocolates and took them round to his. I took a deep breath, then rang the doorbell. But then standing at the door was him holding hands with another girl. I awkwardly said, Don't you like me? I mean, you taught me that when a guy likes a girl, he'll always be there for her. You picked me up in the middle of the night, and you always listened and comforted me when I was sad. You even brought me hot tea when my Aunt Flo came to visit. Doesn't everything match up?
Rosie, I was just being nice. Sorry, but you've confused the signs. Again.
I was totally dumbfounded. I couldn't face the thought of seeing Martin ever again, so I blocked him from my life. In the following days, I was under a variety of emotional states, from extreme stress, heartbreak, embarrassment, then disappointment because of my extra delusion. I struggled with insomnia almost every night and tried to bury my feelings by binge-eating junk food. Just 2 weeks later, I looked at myself in the mirror. There were dark circles under my eyes, my skin was dry and flaky, and I felt bloated and sluggish most of the time. Seeing myself like that reminded me of something Martin had said.
How can you expect someone else to love you if you don't love yourself?
I knew I needed to change, so I started eating more healthily, working out, and finding me time. And you know what? It worked. Now I can finally say that I see my own worth, and I'll never allow a man to treat me badly ever again. And if that means I stay single for a while, then that's the way it'll be. I guess I kinda owe Martin a lot. I mean, he did teach me loads. And now, even though I'm still single, I'm enjoying it. There are way more important things than having a boyfriend, right? But wait, was this barista winking at me? OMG, there's a post-it with his number on my coffee cup. What should I do?
Hey, dating a coffee guy is risky business.
Why, coach?
Imagine one day your relationship turns bad and you desire a cup of coffee to ease your heart out, but you also have to see him here. Awkward, huh?
Indeed a pro. But so why are you making this awkward convo?
Rosie, I may be a love coach, but even I get it wrong sometimes. When it comes to my heart, all theories are nonsense. Please, will you show me how to love naturally?
Well, as you can see, I'm dating my dating coach. But now, our love doesn't apply to any cliches. Instead, we just do us, and we're both happier than ever. If you're in a dating slump, then don't worry. Just let love happen when it happens, and follow. Hi, I'm Belle. I'm 18, and today is my first day at Boston College. Isn't that cool? Oh, wait. I think I hear someone crying. Why don't we go shopping? It'll make you feel better.
No, I don't want anything. Just leave me alone.
Wait, that sobbing girl, she looked so familiar to me. Is that her? What are you looking at? The other girl snapped at me. Jeez, why so serious? The next day I decided to do the neighborly thing, so I brought an apple pie over to her. The door opened and whoa, she looked like she'd tackled a tornado. Her hair and clothes were messy and her eyes were swollen. Oh, hi. I'm Belle. I just moved here. Nice to meet you. Oh, hi. I'm Laura. Yes, Laura. Laura from elementary school. How could she not know it was me? Then my childhood memories started flushing back to me. Back then I was super shy because my family had financial problems. I was always in worn clothes. I guess this made me an easy target for some mean kids. Then one day when I was walking home from school, those kids followed me, pushed me over, then started laughing as they searched through my backpack. But then a luxurious car pulled up alongside us, and Laura peered through the window and said to them, "Leave her alone, else I'll revoke your invites to my party." After that, Laura left before I could even thank her, and the mean kids hurried off. Through my young eyes, I saw her as an angel. She was pretty and popular, but she'd still stopped to help me. Unfortunately, right after that incident, my parents thought it was best to transfer me to another school, and I never saw Laura again. Well, until now. Thanks for the apple pie. Come in if you want. Oh, yes, if you don't mind. I walked inside and oh my, her room was a mess. There were clothes everywhere, trash on the floor, and dirty dishes overflowing in the basin. Something bad must have happened to her to get her this down in the dumps. So I asked her what was up, and she told me her boyfriend had just broken up with her. The worst part was she left her family and friends behind to move here for him. But then he ended things without even giving her an explanation. Poor Laura. The breakup was over 2 months ago, but it still seemed to be fresh in her mind. I tried comforting her, but the more I did, the more she cried. The next day, I decided to swing by and check if she was okay. The door was ajar, so I peered inside and saw a glum-looking Laura sitting on the floor, hugging and sniffing something. Laura? What are you doing?
I found this, and I just miss him so much.
Oh, turns out she was looking through her closet for her sweater and ended up finding her ex's hoodie. That's it. Enough was enough. It was time I finally returned the favor and saved Laura just like she'd saved me back in 5th grade. You'll never move on if his things are staring you in the face. I told her it was time to get her ex's belongings. And you know what? She had a whole big box of his stuff. I took a look, and that's when I saw a photo of them. This is him? I couldn't hide my surprise. Yeah, that's Cameron, my boyfriend, or should I say my ex? Why do you ask? Oh, nothing. Just thank God you're not together anymore. The word jerk is written all over his face. Then we threw the whole box in the dorm's dumpster downstairs. The poor girl looked like she wanted to jump right in there to retrieve it. I'm going to help you get over this guy. I promise. You're about to discover just how fun being single can be. Oh, you're single too? Yeah, of course. Now that her ex's stuff was in the trash where it belonged, it was time to live our best happy single lives. Each morning, I dragged Laura jogging around the park with me and showed her how to prepare delicious, healthy meals. Can you believe that she didn't even know how to boil an egg without burning the pot? Yep, I know. It's shocking. Then one time, her basin blocked up, and she was totally freaking out. I came to the rescue with my trusted plunger and showed her how to fix it. Easy peasy. And best of all, no man was needed to save these damsels. Next, I needed to show Laura how to enjoy life because all she seemed to do was slump around her room. So, on Saturday night, I dragged her and Kayla to this really cool bar. Man, I'm thirsty. Martinis? My treat. Hold up, Laura. Do you want to know how to get free drinks? And then I told her to walk past some guys, flip her hair, and wink at them with the cutest smile on her face, and bam! Just like that, we had drinks bought for us. Laura seemed very happy with what she just accomplished, and that made me happy too. Only Kayla didn't look so thrilled about it. Maybe her martini tasted too bitter. While we were having fun, my phone suddenly rang. Oh my God. I've been longing for that call. But why now? I put it on silent and continued chatting. Why aren't you answering? Oh, it's nothing. Are you sure? Seems important. Yeah, no worries. Before I could finish my sentence, I suddenly heard someone calling Laura.
Laura?
Oh, Jack! Hi, it's been so long.
I'm surprised to see you here. Are you alone or with friends?
Before Laura could introduce us, the guy stared at me.
Hey, I think I know you.
Nah, I don't think we've ever met. I immediately denied it. But this guy was so insistent, he kind of made me uncomfortable, that I accidentally knocked over my glass. Then I had to make a mad dash to the bathroom to clean myself up. Anyway, that night was great. I was kind of proud of myself for proving to Laura that being single wasn't so bad after all. But then, the very next morning, disaster struck. Kayla ordered me into Laura's room, where she was curled up on her bed, holding a photo of her and Cameron. Ugh, so much for getting rid of all reminders of him. Laura sobbed out that Jack told her that Cameron was seeing someone else, and now Kayla had come up with an idea to get revenge on him. I know this hurts, but please, just ignore him and move on with your life. Pfft, what do you know? Are you on Laura's side or her jerky ex's? I just ignored Kayla and tried to talk to some sense into Laura. Thank God she seemed to listen to me and cancel the revenge plan. Oh boy, Kayla looked furious. I went back to my dorm and let out a relieved sigh. And suddenly my phone got an incoming message. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Okay, the truth is, I'm seeing this guy who I like loads, but I didn't want to rub Laura's face in it, so I haven't mentioned it to her. The next morning, I put on a cute dress, did my makeup, styled my hair, and excitedly stepped out of my dorm room to find stacks of trash bags in front of my door. Who on earth did this? I dragged them downstairs to put them in the dumpster, when I found all my mail in there covered in trash juice. Ew. Was this a prank or what? Whatever, I didn't have time for this. I was already late. I arrived at a gallery and saw that he was already here looking at a painting. Hey, sorry for being late. He turned around with a smile.
Well, you're worth the wait, you know.
Okay, please let me explain. So, yep, that's Cameron, but it's not what you think. I met him the other month as he was helping out at an event for new students. He didn't care that I wore thrift store clothes and that my sneakers weren't cool. Instead, he saw past these things and started talking to me first. So Jack was there too, which is why he sorta recognized me. I've been texting Cameron loads, and I must confess, I think I do have feelings for him. But don't get me wrong, I didn't know Laura was his ex until I saw the photo of them. Oh boy, that sure shocked me to the core. I didn't want to tell her and not only break her heart all over again, but also destroy our friendship. That's also why I didn't care to answer Cameron's call in front of Laura when we were at the bar. And I was super lucky that Jack didn't recognize me that night, or it would have been a total disaster. I know I needed to tell Laura the truth, but first she just needs a little more time to get over Cameron. Ugh. I went home from the date with a big smile on my face, but what I saw made it instantly fade. My entire makeup collection was smashed up. What? Who would do something so mean? It took me ages to save up to buy all that. As I checked to see if any of it was salvageable, I saw a long blue hair nestled amongst the carnage. Furious, I was about to go confront her, but Kayla and Laura had already appeared in my doorway. Why did they look so angry? How could you befriend me like that when all along you were seeing my ex? So your "you don't need a man" speech was all just one big lie so you could take my guy, huh? And do you really think Cameron would like a girl like you? You can't even afford a decent handbag. Right. Let me tell you this. You will never be like one of us, and you'll never be good enough for Cameron. How could Laura think of me like that? I truly wanted to help her, like she'd helped me. I totally only have good intentions, Laura. I had no idea he was your ex when we first met. The only reason I didn't tell you sooner was because I knew you needed more time to heal. And I didn't want to hurt you because I adore you and value our friendship. Do you remember 5th grade? I was being teased by these kids and you were the only one who stood up for me. I just wanted to return the favor and help you too. But hearing you say that stuff makes me so sad. After that, I shooed them out of my room and locked the door. I refused to go to lectures and ignored all Cameron's calls and messages. Maybe Laura and Kayla were right. Cameron and I weren't meant to be. We were from 2 different worlds. Eventually, a few days later, I had to go outside. Well, because I ran out of food. When I passed by a coffee shop, I saw them, Cameron and Laura, sitting together. So Kayla was right. A rich guy like Cameron would never like an ordinary girl like me. I couldn't live in the same dorm as Laura anymore, so I was packing my stuff to move out of there. Suddenly, I heard Laura's voice. Are you running away from your problems like I did? I ignored her and continued packing. You know, I met Cameron and we had a long talk. He finally told me why he broke up with me. It was because I was too dependent on him, and I couldn't do anything on my own. But you helped me stand on my own feet, and for that, I can never thank you enough. Laura, I honestly always wanted to tell you the truth. I know, but it doesn't matter anymore. You know, the important thing now is to enjoy my independent single life, right? Oh, I got you these. Kayla was way out of line destroying your things. Also, I think there's someone who wants to see you. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. I opened it and, oh my God, standing there with a huge bouquet of flowers was Cameron. So it looks like I can continue getting to know Cameron now, and I don't have to move out anymore. But do you know what the best part of all is? I have my friend back.
98, 99, one more to go. And 200,000 followers! It looks like I'm making quite an impression on the world. Hey, you're looking at the hottest beauty and lifestyle influencer of Park Springs High School. Beauty and brains? I have both. It's not surprising, is it? Obviously, a girl like me gets loads of attention. Oh, there our nerdy Ben is, my #1 fanboy. He's always following me around school and offering to help me with, well, everything. I can't blame him. I mean, I'm basically his queen. Hey, Ben. I didn't see you at my locker as usual. Are you good? I'm out of money today, so... Wait, Ben, don't say it like that. People will think I mugged you or something. I never ask for those groceries or sundries. Yes, you don't. Sorry. Okay, so that was weird. Then things got even stranger when I overheard Christine telling her friends that after being exposed, an anonymous IG singer's followers had skyrocketed to a whopping 500,000. But the thing was, she went to school here. She's that nobody in bio class, Stella. Stella hurried past me into class, followed by a flock of people trying to take her pic and asking her to sing. Blah, blah, blah. Some of the boys even offered to take her home after class. Poof! Please! What were they thinking? Ugh! She could play the fragile and confused act on these losers, but she didn't fool me. The dropped book scenario was so overrated. But, why was Ben rushing to pick it up? What a traitor! Ben? Where's my homework? He couldn't even come up with a better excuse than, I went out last night. This was baloney. I just heard him offer to help Stella with her homework. And guess what? This girl, still with her Little Miss shy facade up, told Ben that she could do her own essay. Ugh. Did she think she was Beyoncé or what? Acting all high and thinking she's the beacon of the universe? I was furious. So she wanted a taste of fame, huh? Let's just say, as a senior in this field, having experienced its downside, it was time I taught her some manners. After that, I made sure she became the main topic of every single talk in school. Hey, she needed to learn how this fame game worked. Everyone was giggling, pointing, and whispering behind her back. She had to cover herself with a hoodie that hid half of her face and walk through school in anxiety. Yeah, I know that paranoid feeling all too well when you obsess with why people keep on giving you odd looks. Then one day, I was putting my books back in my locker when I glimpsed someone running past me crying. It was Stella. And she dropped a note that said, "If I were you, I wouldn't have shown up at school ever again. You're a joke." Gosh, do people even say these things? This was way too harsh. What happened? For God's sake. He didn't think I was the one who wrote this, did he? From that day on, Ben completely ignored me. And worse, he was glued to Stella, comforting her as people talked behind her back. Ugh. Then one day, I was tying my shoelaces when I heard some cheerleaders trying to open someone's phone. Right at that moment, Stella stepped out of the shower stall. Upset to see others violating her privacy, she tried to fight back. But oh boy, this wallflower couldn't even make them budge. Fine, I'll help her, but only this time. You tattletale! You think you run the place now just because you're popular? Go tell Ben I didn't put that note in your locker. Better yet, call him right now. Oh, come on. Just run to the bleachers and tell that nerd. Go! What are you looking at? I went over to the bleachers to find Ben comforting Stella. What now? Snitching on me again? Actually, Stella was just telling me that you didn't write that note. Could you be any more foolish? So, you're just gonna bluntly do whatever I tell you to? Don't mind her. It's just who she is. A bit rough, but a truly great friend. I don't make friends. Yeah, I learned it the hard way. Back in my early days on Instagram, the only friend I trusted posted a video of me changing in the school's shower stall. I still had my tea inside my shirt, but that taught me a cruel lesson about friendships and fame. When you're famous, people will always want something from you. You can't trust anyone at all. You hear me? Stella! Who's that? Liam, Stella's friend from the music club. They look good together, don't they? What? Are you jealous of him or something? For that silly chick? Ben didn't say anything, but just blankly stared at them. Huh? He never looked at me like that anymore. Now I was no longer the Instagram queen. That meant I was no longer his queen. It was true there was no one I could trust. A few days later, there was a big football match. We were going up against our rival school for the final, and Stella was singing the national anthem. Even the mayor and a local TV station showed up for it. Crazy! Ben was part of the AV team, so when some dude told me Ben wanted to talk to me, I went to the AV room to find him. What did he want to talk about? Hopefully not something to do with Stella. Ugh! But as I got there, no one was around. Huh? Right at that moment, the screen showed Stella stepping up to the podium preparing to sing. But instead of the soothing melody, a string of strange, distorted sounds came out of her mic. What was going on? What are you doing here? Ashley! He pushed me aside and hurriedly fixed the sound system. And just a minute later, things were back to normal and Stella could restart the song. Ben gave me an accusing look, then dragged me behind the bleachers, where we met up with Stella and Liam. Then Ben told her I'd messed with her mic. Ugh! How could he think I was capable of something like that? Meanwhile, this Liam guy stepped in, saying it could have been a technical error. Yeah, whatever. I went to leave, but Liam caught up with me. Weird. Weren't he and Stella having a thing? He immediately denied it, saying they were just acquaintances from music club. But I've been wanting to get closer to you for a while. You're the true Instagram queen, not Stella. Whoa, this guy was a top-class jerk. Just a minute ago, he had his hands wrapped around Stella, and now he was trying to leech onto me. He even started leaning in to kiss me on the cheek. Quickly, I dodged it as I met Stella's gloomy look from behind. Yikes. It was time to get out of here. I didn't sleep so well. Ugh. All this stress was bad for my skin. So I was groggily making my way along the school corridor when Stella stormed up to me. It was you, wasn't it? You were so mean to me, threatening to delete my IG account because you were so jealous Ben had left you for me. Now it's really gone, and it's all your fault. What are you talking about? I had nothing to do with your stupid account. Yeah, I gossiped about you to mess with you a bit, but that was all. And you think I did it too? Excuse me? Did he just ignore me? And there Ben was, my so-called friend who turned his back at me right at the moment I needed him the most. And I'd never threatened to delete her account. Why did she make it up? Was she that jealous of me and Liam yesterday? What's this? An unexpected message from Liam said,
Hey Ashley, don't worry, sweetie. I've got your back. What do you say we meet at 8 p.m. in the park?
Ugh, this shameless, two-faced jerk. What was he up to this time? So after class, I slid a note into Stella's locker, pretending to be from Liam, saying,
I have a surprise for you. See you at 8 p.m. in the park.
I arrived on time to find Liam already waiting. He kept putting on this simping act like he was madly in love with me or something.
I can help you prove everything, and I only ask for one tiny favor, that you'll be my girlfriend.
You can do that? But how?
Well, you can just simply put the blame on someone else. Let's say, Ben? Oh, honey, you don't have to do anything. Just come to me and let your man handle it.
Ugh, this guy made me want to barf. But I still had to play it cool so I could figure out what this dude had up his sleeves. Sounds interesting, but I want to know more. How are you going to carry out your master plan?
Honey, I've already got all the pieces of evidence in my hands.
You mean?
That's right. I was the one who deleted Stella's IG account, and I know a way to blame it on someone else.
You did what? Ashley, I let my jealousy blind me. So when I saw him flirting with you right in front of me, I just lost it. At least you're not the only fool around here. He played both of us. And for the record, he's so not my type. Your type? Let me guess. Someone like Ben? He's such an idiot. He'd never realize I have feelings for him. But you're more of his type than I am. Besides, the way he just abandoned me when I needed him the most.
Ashley, I didn't mean to hurt you like that.
What? You've been there the entire time?
Yeah, I've heard it all, including the part about how you have feelings for me. Look, it's not what you think. I'm not into Stella that way. The thing is, I saw her singing at a coffee shop and realized right away she's my favorite anonymous singer on Instagram, so I sort of revealed her identity online. One thing led to another. I felt so guilty I just stayed by Stella's side and accidentally pushed you away. And it's not that I don't trust you. After you left, I tried to convince everyone you didn't do it, but they didn't believe me. Then Stella showed me the note in her locker of Liam asking her out, and I recognized your handwriting. I got worried, so...
So, you didn't turn on me?
Yeah, I know you can seem cold sometimes, but deep down you have a good heart.
So, turns out that Stella going viral meant some local lounge singer had lost a lot of gigs, so she hired Liam to delete Stella's account for good. This guy was no joke. The note, the cheerleaders, the mic accident, he was responsible for it all. Luckily for me, I'd managed to put my phone on record mode for the entire conversation I had with him. So the next day, I went ahead and reported him to the principal. Well, no bad deed goes unpunished, so I hope you enjoy your indefinite suspension, Liam. As for me, I no longer go solo anymore, as I have a new friend by my side, who now has quit social media and enjoys her passion for singing. And Ben is still Ben. Such a doofus. But my doofus. Hi, I'm Viola, and today is a big day. You see, It's my first time ever acting in this awesome short film, but I can't seem to focus at all. Why, you ask? Well, that's because I just discovered I'm not real. Or, to be exact, I only exist in my best friend's imagination. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Until yesterday, I always thought of myself as a completely normal human being. Let me tell you how it all started. The first memory I have involves my best friend Harlow. I woke up feeling dazed and confused and saw this pretty girl smiling down at me. She told me that I'd be safe now and that her parents were going to look after me. Strangely, I couldn't remember anything before that day, and no one told me what had happened. I could only guess that I'd probably been abandoned or something, and that Harlow and her parents were my saviors. So, from then on, I lived with Harlow's family, who showed me kindness and love. When I first got out of the hospital, I couldn't do anything by myself. From personal things like brushing my teeth and washing my face, to chores such as doing laundry and dumping the trash. At the time, it was Harlow who guided and helped me, like a caring big sister. Then, when we entered middle school and the boys started flirting with me, Harlow was always by my side to protect me. She told me how they would never like a plain, boring girl like me, and that they were only doing this to get close to her, as she was very beautiful. If I had a decision to make, big or small, I always consulted Harlow first, as I knew she'd know best. But recently, I noticed that Harlow was acting short-tempered with me. When I got a better grade on my English essay than her, she told me I only got that mark as the teacher just felt sorry for me. Then she stormed off. Man, I didn't mean to upset her, and it was really unfair that the teacher didn't give her the grade she deserved, as she's far smarter than I am. Then last week, this boy called Hank in our school's film club held open auditions for his short film project. Harlow was desperate to be in it, so I decided to go along with her for support. I thought Harlow's audition was marvelous, but for some reason, she wasn't picked. I was about to leave too, but then Hank asked me if I wanted to audition. So I did, and you know what? I got the lead role. I was so surprised, and so was Harlow. She insisted that they were just tricking me and I shouldn't take the part, as why would they choose a girl with ordinary looks like me to play the female lead? But still, I wanted to give it a try. Opportunities like this don't come twice, right? So I accepted the part. I know Harlow was worried that they were just teasing me, but Hank and his crew seemed nice. And maybe he finds my normal look suitable for the character, right? The morning before the shooting day, I asked Harlow to lend me her pretty white dress to wear to the shoot. Harlow looked annoyed as she said, "You spilled coffee on that dress last time you borrowed it, remember? You didn't even bother taking care of it, and now the stain's still there." "No way! I remember washing it before returning it to you." "Well, then you remember it wrong. It's my dress, so I'm hardly going to forget what you did to it, am I?" Then she left in a temper. Strange. I remember using vinegar to clean the coffee stains, as it took me ages to scrub it off. But it is true that my memory isn't all that good. When I was a child, I once waited in the park in the rain for over an hour, just because I thought Harlow told me to meet her there on Saturday afternoon. I said Sunday afternoon. I have piano practice today, silly. So maybe I misremembered again and really didn't wash the dress for her? That day in math class, Harlow got caught texting, so the teacher confiscated her phone. At break time, she asked me to sneak into the school administrator's room to get her phone back. But of course I refused, as I was far too scared to do that kind of stuff. "It's okay, no one can see you." Basically because you only exist in my imagination. What was she talking about? What did she mean by that? For the rest of the lesson, I kept thinking about Harlow's words. When the bell rang, seeing that I was still confused, Harlow pointed to a group of students standing nearby and told me that no matter what I did, they wouldn't see me. And that's true! When I waved my hands and talked to them, no one looked in my direction. I even snapped my fingers in front of them, but they didn't react at all. What is going on? Harlow told me that because she imagined me, she's in control of who sees me or not. Then she told me that if I still didn't believe it, I should go to the school administrator's room to get her phone. Then I'd see that she was telling the truth. The superintendent was standing right across the hallway, but Harlow assured me I'd be invisible to her. My heart was thudding like crazy, but I tried to shake back my nerves and continued to get her phone undetected. Whoa! The superintendent didn't see me at all! So, what Harlow said was true? I only existed in her imagination? That means Harlow's really the one who decides what will happen to me. And who I'll meet? So basically the author of my life story. But does that also mean that I have no control over my own life? Well, if I even have a life. Then Harlow barged into my room and said, "You've never wondered why you don't remember anything about your parents and about the time before you met me, have you?" It was 'cause I lost my memory after the accident. There was no accident, Viola. You have no previous memories because that was when I created you, as I wanted a friend to play with. I kept this truth a secret because I love you, and you always listened to me. But you've been so headstrong lately. After Harlow left, I found myself feeling so down. It turned out my whole life had never belonged to me. No wonder I was so plain and ordinary. All I am is a side character in Harlow's story. After a horrible sleepless night, I didn't even feel like going to the film set anymore. And it's already late anyway. I was laying in bed, spacing out, when Hank phoned me asking where I was. I only exist in Harlow's imagination, so there's no point filming.
Huh? What nonsense are you going on about? Stop joking, Viola. We're short on time over here.
Seeing that I didn't even bother to reply to him, but just let out a long sigh, he continued.
All right then. If that's the case, then you should at least make it count. Would you like to imagine yourself as just a boring nobody? Or a brilliant actress?
I suppose Hank's words made sense, so I got myself back together and hurried to the film set. Even if I'm imaginary, I'll make this unreal life of mine unimaginably awesome. The filming was actually a lot of fun, and everyone complimented my acting. They were probably just being nice, but it still felt good. Then Hank came over and congratulated me. Now that filming's over, you can be honest with me. I don't mind. I know you only cast me as the lead as you like Harlow.
What do you mean? And the thing you said this morning as well about only existing in Harlow's imagination?
I ended up blurting out everything to him, and you know what he did? He laughed. But when he saw that I was struggling to fight back my tears, he took my hand.
Viola, listen to me. Harlow's tricking you. The only thing not real in all of this are her words, not you.
No way. Harlow's my best friend. She would never do such a thing.
If you only existed in Harlow's imagination, how come you still decided, on your own, to show up at film set this morning? How come you still meet other people without her being around? Like, right now. Harlow couldn't have written the script with all these little details, right? Come on, Vi. Think about it.
But there was a time when Harlow made me invisible to everybody else. I snapped my fingers in front of them, and they didn't react at all. Hank asked me who these people were, and I told him. He said he'd make sure I saw sense. Then he left. This was so confusing. I cannot tell what is real and what's not anymore. The next day at school, when I was sorting my locker out, Hank dragged a reluctant-looking boy over to me. I recognized him. He was part of the group who didn't see me.
Go on. Tell her everything.
The boy told me how Harlow had bribed them to trick me. He also said that they distracted the superintendent so I could sneak into her office without being caught. What? I didn't understand why Harlow would do this to me. Hank went with me to confront her, and she faked a smile and said,
Silly Viola. It was just a joke.
So what about the fact that I can't remember anything about the time before I met you? You said there was no accident. It's also a lie, isn't it?
I never said that. Probably you misremembered again like so many times before. I view you as a sister, Viola. I'd never lie to you.
I didn't know what to believe anymore. I needed to be alone for a minute. This was all too much to process. So I ran to the nearby park to clear my mind. Suddenly, I felt something cold next to my cheek. It was Hank. He passed me some water and told me to drink it and calm down.
Viola, I think Harlow's gaslighting you. She's basically emotionally abusing you to make you question your own sanity. I know you see her as a sister, but she's really toxic.
Could it? Could it be possible that Harlow didn't have my best interests at heart? But what did she even get out of this, though? I'm not sure if this was because she wanted me to rely on her or she's jealous, but either way, knowing she could deceive me like that hurt like crazy. I didn't want to believe that that was what had been happening, but after all explanations, it's so clear now that Harlow was gaslighting me. And ever since then, I tried to avoid her as much as possible. But this was tricky, seeing as we were in the same class and lived together. I just wished I could grow up fast, so I could go to college and leave this house. At least there was good news. Hank's film in which I starred had gained attention on YouTube, and he was even selected to attend the Short Film Festival with a view to supporting the city's young talented filmmakers. Then, one day, I arrived home from school to see Harlow's parents drinking coffee with a strange woman. Huh? She sure looked a lot like me. Suddenly, she was running over to me and hugging me in her arms.
Oh, darling, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this moment.
Following a whole lot of confusion, shocking revelations, and emotions, I finally found out the actual truth. It turned out that when I was 7 years old, Mom took me on a yacht trip. Only there was a terrible accident, so we took the lifeboat to shore. But then Mom fell out and ended up being rescued by another boat. We both suffered memory loss. In fact, Mom only remembered who I was when she saw the short film I starred in on YouTube. And then she tracked me down here. After that, I returned to live with my real mom. And guess what? I now realize just how awesome I am. I'm grateful to Harlow's parents for looking after me, but I still haven't forgiven Harlow yet. I'm trying to, as I know she's not all bad, but it's going to take some time. I also feel so blessed to have Hank by my side to help me discover my confidence and value my own worth. He even says I can be in his next film project, which I'm really excited about. It's good to know that I'm actually real, and I exist outside of Harlow's mind. The world is mine for the taking. And who knows, maybe one day I'll end up being a professional actress. I arrived to find that he'd turned his bedroom into a mini theater, complete with scented candles and glistening fairy lights. He handed me a bowl of popcorn, and as we nibbled our way to the bottom, a carefully written letter came into sight that said,
I've been in love with you ever since we were little kids. I've held back my feelings as I didn't want to ruin our friendship, but I can't deny them any longer. So, will you be my girlfriend?
How can he be so gorgeous and sweet and...
Hey, dummy, you writing that cheesy stuff again? Just drop it already. Let's go prank Mr. Weasley.
Okay, I'm coming. If only what I wrote came to life. That's my best friend since childhood, Adrian. And as you can see, I have the biggest crush on him. But he only sees me as a bro. How ironic. I'm pretty sure if I confessed my feelings to him, he'd weird it out saying it's gross and stuff. So I just wrote my dream reality down in my novel and posted it on Wattpad. I even used a pen name. I couldn't risk Adrian finding out, 'cause, help, awkward alert. Anyway, it's easier this way, as I didn't want my parents to find out either. Yep, they weren't exactly supportive of my writing career. They wanted me to become a lawyer and take over the family firm just like my dad, and his dad, and blah, blah, blah. They made me study hard so I'd get into this prestigious law school, but it was just so dull and my heart just wasn't into it. One day, as I was sipping a macchiato at my favorite coffee shop, a group of girls walked in chattering excitedly about a book by the new author, Agatha C. Huh? Did I hear them right? Curious, I approached them and politely asked to see the book and... Oh my God! It was my pen name right on the cover! I scanned through the first few pages and saw my words. Did this mean my book was published? Ouch! So all this was real! So, someone must have given my book to the publisher. Then it's gotta be Mrs. Jensen. Yes, she is the most respected writer and has loads of connections in the publishing industry. And lucky me, she was my mentor. Hi, Mrs. Jensen. I'm just calling to say I'm so grateful for what you've done for me.
Cecilia, calm down. What are you talking about?
The book, of course. Mrs. Jensen, my book got published thanks to you, right?
You're talking nonsense, young lady. I've barely started reading your book. So how could it have been published without my notice?
What? So, Mrs. Jensen didn't send it? Then who did? What do you mean you can't disclose their identity? It's my book!
Miss, all I can say is that the person who brought it here claims to be the author of the book and chose not to reveal themselves by publishing it under a pen name. We, as the publisher, are legally bound by that, so I can't help you any further.
What on earth was he talking about? Some random person stole my book and my pen name? I needed to prove they were both mine. Aha! My Wattpad page. I tried to log into my account to show the director, but access denied. Oh, no. Someone must have messed with it. I was gonna use it to apply for a writing scholarship at college, and now it was all gone. As if that wasn't bad enough. I suddenly received an email from the writing competition I'd applied for, saying they denied my entry due to plagiarism of a Wattpad page. My Wattpad page! Ugh!
Sup, bro? What's with the King Kong face? Oh, come on. You'll be less of an ugly duckling if you smile more. See?
My gosh, could he just stop being like that for once? He made it very clear we had zero chance of being together. I got it, but he didn't have to rub it in my face like that. Fine then, he'd never have to see me again. After that, I was determined to transfer to another school by the next semester, one that would appreciate my writing talent. Somewhere like Eastwood Academy. It's a school full of literature records. Besides, I happen to know someone there. Lewis, the president of the literature club, and also an uprising star in the writer world. He's not only super talented, but incredibly nice too. He'd help me loads with my novels. But getting into that school would be tough. So, every day, with my game face on, I buried my head under stacks of books, while Adrian tried his best to distract me. One time, he told me to ditch class and go see the new Batman movie with him. I'd waited months for that movie. But no, I'd got to get my head in the game. Adrian didn't give up that easily, though. Only, right at that moment, the teacher appeared behind his back, yanked his ears, and gave him a ticket to the detention room. There went the Batman movie for him. Another time, he came up with a prank for Mr. Jones, the PE teacher who made him run 10 laps around the school for being late. But, sorry, the new Cecilia ain't got time for any of his childish stuff. So when Adrian gave me Mr. Jones's phone and told me to hide it away, I just calmly handed it back to him. As Mr. Jones returned to the teacher lounge, he saw Adrian pouring some liquid into his tumbler, and that's how Adrian got himself 2 detention tickets. After that, Adrian finally noticed that I had been acting differently.
Cece, what is up with you? You keep ignoring me. Are we not friends anymore?
Don't call me Cece. I'm still mad at you, okay? So, yeah, I want to transfer to Eastwood Academy. You know, Lewis's school.
Oh, I see. Stop the act. I know it already.
What? Did he know that I like him? Had he read my book?
You like Lewis.
Huh? Oh. Phew. But hang on. He really thought that? And was he annoyed? Interesting. Yep. In fact, he asked me out to dinner this Saturday.
Really? Okay then. I'll go with you. Can't trust this guy.
And so, Adrian tagged along. He kept complaining about how I dressed up all pretty for Lewis, and how he had the nerve to be late. So, this is what he's like when he's jealous? Kinda cute, though. As Lewis arrived, he gave me a big hug, and I could feel Adrian's glare behind my back. I sat close to Lewis and giggled at everything he said. He immediately got what I was trying to do, so he acted along, putting his arm around my shoulder and slightly stroking my hair. At one point, I even helped Lewis take a fallen eyelash out. And oh boy, Adrian couldn't help but lunge forward to separate us. Right at that moment, I heard a familiar voice from behind.
Cecilia? And who are these young men? Lewis?
Oh, hi, Mrs. Jensen. What a small world. You know Lewis too? She didn't answer my question. Instead, she gave me a stern look, then dragged me outside.
Cecilia, what are you doing with that no-good traitor?
You mean Lewis?
Who else? He was heavily criticized and boycotted by the whole writers' community. I strongly suggest you give him a wide berth.
Oh my. I had no idea Lewis had such a bad reputation. He was always so kind to me. Unless this was just an act because he wanted something. Like my novel. What if he was the one who stole it? This was not good. I rushed back to my table, quickly said goodbye to Adrian, then dragged Lewis away. Did you or did you not steal my book?
What? No! Did Mrs. Jensen tell you that?
Turns out, he used to be Mrs. Jensen's brightest mentee. Then he fell in love with her daughter Demi, and they started dating behind her back. But then out of the blue, Demi suddenly broke up with him. Heartbroken, he cut all ties with her and her mom. But Mrs. Jensen took offense at this and had been on his back ever since. Gosh, now my head was spinning. I had no idea who to trust.
Come to think of it, back in my mentee months, I also lost one of my manuscripts. I sort of ran into a dead end with that one, so I didn't do any digging, but it can't be a coincidence, right? It must have been Mrs. Jensen who stole them.
No way! She's an incredible writer. Why would she do something like that?
There's no better explanation for this. Don't worry. I've got a plan to expose her for the stinking thief she is.
He then called the publisher, pretending to be some big-shot producer, and asked them to arrange a meeting with the author of my stolen book, as he'd like to produce a high-budget movie based on it. Brilliant, isn't it? We arrived at the rendezvous in awesome disguises and waited for this to play out. Her tension rose as the footsteps got closer. And then, standing at the door was, well, Mrs. Jensen. How could you? I trusted you!
Cecilia? What's going on? Oh, drop the act. There's no movie. We only planned this trap to expose you for the book thief you are.
Mrs. Jensen persistently denied our accusations and claimed she was only here because her daughter arranged a big surprise for her. Then Lewis and Mrs. Jensen started quarreling with each other and it all got messy. Stop! Both of you, please just stop!
Demi, please explain yourself.
It was me, okay? I stole your book, Cecilia. I saw it on Mom's desk. I'm so sorry.
I don't understand. You don't need to steal someone else's hard work. You already are an excellent writer.
No, Mom, I'm not. I've tried so hard to meet your expectations, but I just can't. I didn't want to disappoint you, so I stole your mentee's work. Including yours, Lewis. I was so ashamed of myself I couldn't face you after that. I'm so sorry. Lewis let out a long sigh, then pulled Demi in for a hug and comforted her. Right at that moment, Adrian barged in and grabbed Lewis's collar.
You jerk! You were flirting with Cecilia a day ago, and now you're canoodling with another girl right in front of her?
Adrian, stop! It's not what you think. Then I led him out of the restaurant. Turns out he saw me leaving the house with Lewis looking all weird, so he decided to follow us here. The truth is, I don't have a crush on Lewis. I was just trying to see if you think of me as more than just a friend.
Well, I do like you. Like, a lot. But I don't want to risk our friendship. I can't bear the thought of not having you in my life, so I figured it'd be best to treat you as one of the guys.
Guess what? I like you too, idiot. So, what do you say?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. But you have to promise me if things don't work out, we'll still be friends, okay?
Promise. Then we pinky swore just like when we were little kids. Only this time, he pulled me in for the best kiss ever. Finally, my book's mine again. And guess what? It has just become the #1 bestseller novel according to the New York Times. Ah! This calls for a celebration. Adrian, will you help me with the guest list for the party?
Sure, sweetie. Who do you want to invite?
Now, let's see. There's my parents, who were so impressed with my independent work that they're now letting me follow my writing dreams. There's also Lewis and Demi. Aw, they make such a cute couple. Demi decided to start over with her writing career, this time without the pressure from her mom. And with Lewis's help, she's got a bright future ahead. And last but not least, Mrs. Jensen, who's now fully supportive of her daughter's career and her relationship with Lewis. I guess it's a happy ending for both my novel, me, and everyone I care about.
Let me tell you something. Something really important. I have acrophobia, so this is my idea of a nightmare. I don't want to be here at all. Oh, and that guy on the other side is Charlie. He's my boyfriend, but I don't actually like him like that. So you're probably wondering how I ended up here, 200 meters above the ground and about to make this terrifying leap. Well, let's just start from the beginning. Hi, I'm Luna, a 17-year-old high school girl from a small town in New South Wales. Growing up, I was desperate to please my hardworking single mom. The problem was she was nearly always tired and irritable. So no matter what I said or did, it usually ended up being wrong. The most common words that came out of her mouth were, "If you want me to love you, you have to be nice." I wanted her to love me more than anything else in the world, so I did everything I could to appease her. This led to the need to make everyone happy and left me with an unfathomable fear of being hated by others. If I made other people happy, then they'd like me, right? So whenever someone asked me to do their homework or cover for them on roll call, I did so without hesitation. And if there's ever an argument or awkward situation, regardless of if I'm to blame or not, I always apologize first. At 15, I moved to Sydney alone for high school, and that's when I met my roommate Margot. She's my complete opposite, but this didn't stop us from becoming best friends. She's independent, sassy, and doesn't let anyone pressure her into doing anything she doesn't want to. Guys, if I were more like her, I would have been able to avoid a lot of trouble. Once we had a group assignment in biology, and I, by chance, teamed up with these two popular girls. The day before the deadline, they both texted me saying they were sick and asked me to do their parts. This was a lot of work for one person, but I didn't want to upset them, so I agreed. But then, that night, while I was scrolling through Instagram during my brief break after hours of studying, I saw them checking in at a party. What? So they lied to me so they could go out and have fun and left me home alone to do their homework? Oh my, I just want to take this pen and throw it right at their dumb duck faces. How is that cute in anyway? Ugh, but who was I kidding? I knew full well I'd never be able to tell them what I really thought of them. So I picked up the pen and continued my workload meant for 3 people alone. I stayed up all night and drank 3 cans of energy drinks, but it was just too much work for one person to finish on time. Our assignment, or should I say my assignment, got points deducted due to late submission, which somehow made the popular girls mad. What have you done? How could you turn in the assignment late? I'm sorry. It's just that doing it all by myself was a bit too much for me. Oh, please. You had the whole day to finish it. It's all down to your poor time management. Right at that moment, Margot appeared, out of nowhere, and stepped between us. Pfft. If you both cared so much about your grades, then you would have helped Luna complete it. Instead of going to some stupid party, how about I report you to the teacher to cross out your names from Margot? Enough. Sorry, don't mind her. Then I quickly pulled Margot away. Apologizing to them was a ridiculous thing to do. It wasn't your fault. I know it's not my fault, but there's no point making a scene out of it, right? Fine. In that case, I'll leave you alone with all the troubles you've caused yourself. I don't care anymore. Oh, no, I didn't mean to make Margot mad. I quickly apologized to her, told her she was my best friend in the whole world, and asked her to go for a milkshake to make up. A week later, on the day my volunteer club was selling lemonade to raise funds for a children's charity, I suddenly fell sick. Oh no, I'd been telling everyone at the club how important this event was, but now I was the one who'd be absent. How embarrassing. I needed to show them how sincere I was. I texted the club president that I was sick, but if the club really needed me, I could still try to participate. Now I can finally sleep. But who would know? Before I even had time to curl up in bed, he texted back saying how they really needed my help. So if I could come, that'd be great. Oh, no. Did I really have to drag my feverish self over there? Not knowing what to do, I turned to Margot for advice, but she snapped at me. If you knew you couldn't go, why suggest otherwise? People will always take advantage of you if you let them. So just make it clear that you're sick and can't participate. Then she told me how her music club had a dinner meeting tonight, yet she'd already decided she was having a relaxing pamper session tonight, so she immediately told them she was otherwise engaged. Ugh. Margot was right. If I'd done as she said in the first place, I wouldn't have had to rack my brains looking for excuses to say no without annoying anyone. Finally, I texted the club president that I was afraid of infecting everyone, so I'd better stay home. Then I fell asleep and found my worries plaguing my dreams. The next day, I felt better. So after class, I dropped by the club's room, but I instantly felt weird vibes from everyone. Then when I asked the club president how much money we'd earned from the event, he totally blanked me. Oh, no. He was obviously still mad with me for letting him down. I was lost in thoughts when suddenly someone tapped me on the shoulder.
I heard you were sick. Are you feeling better now?
It was Charlie, one of the club members. He told me that day I was off sick. He voluntarily took over all of my work. So I invited him out for a thank you dinner right away. Maybe he misunderstood my goodwill gesture, as after that he bombarded me with texts, calls, and soppy memes. Then one day while we were walking together, Charlie suddenly stopped and took my hand.
Luna, we've known each other for a while now. I think it's time for me to confess my feelings. I like you. Will you go out with me?
Oh my. What did he just say? I stood there dumbfounded. I mean, I liked him as a friend, but not romantically. But when I met his expectant gaze, my conscience began to torment me. He was such a nice guy, so how could I say no to him? In the end, I forced a smile, then nodded in agreement. My feelings for him will develop over time, right? But unfortunately, the answer to this was no. Actually, since we started dating, I found myself liking him even less than before. He does a lot of things that irritate me, such as the time he insisted we wear couple outfits to school. Yeah, slogan shirts with "he's mine, she's mine" printed on them should definitely be left in 2010. Ugh. He smugly ushered me around the school and seemed oblivious to the laughs and points in our direction. If only the ground could just open up and swallow me right away. That evening, noticing how fed up I looked, Margot asked me if everything was going all right between me and Charlie. So I told her everything. I thought she'd get mad at me again, but to my surprise, she just sighed and told me to tell the truth and break up with Charlie before things got too serious. That's the best way to stop both of us from getting hurt. And also, I've heard a lot of bad things about Charlie. People say he's kinda erratic. You better get this over with as soon as possible. Yeah, Margot's right. Next time I saw Charlie, I was ending this once and for all. Turns out I didn't have to wait long, because that Sunday afternoon, Charlie came to pick me up for our date. He told me he had a surprise in store for me, and I was gonna love it. Okay, it sounds like he'd gone to loads of effort, so it was probably best if I left breaking up with him until the journey home.
Almost there!
Hearing what Charlie said, I looked out the window and, oh my God, is that a bungee jumping spot? So, long story short, here I am, 200 meters off the ground, my legs trembling like a leaf and my heart thudding like crazy. I was about to cry out of fear when suddenly I heard romantic music playing behind me. I turned around to see Charlie getting down on one knee. Behind him was eagle-eyed staff holding roses and candles while swaying to the music. What's happening?
I know we haven't been dating long, but it's clear that we're made for each other. Luna, will you marry me?
What? Did I hear him wrong? I mean, I'm only 17. Seeing my puzzled look, Charlie hurriedly said,
I know we're still in high school, but don't worry, we can wait till graduation. Then let's have the most wonderful wedding straight after that.
This was insane. I stood there, rooted to the floor, not knowing what to do, and seeing everyone watching and waiting made me feel even more pressured. I was trying to figure all this out when Charlie forced the ring on my finger. Oh my God. What should I do? What should I do? Well, in classic me fashion, I didn't do anything. My stupid hand just froze in place. And in the end, it turned out like this. No, I couldn't let this happen. Charlie, actually, I don't have feelings for you. I was going to tell you today, but I didn't expect things to end up like this.
You're kidding me, right? If you didn't like me, you wouldn't have let me put the ring on earlier.
So I explained everything to Charlie. His face darkened with disappointment. I felt so guilty. I should have just been straight with him from the beginning, then none of this would have happened. We can still be friends, can't we? I asked, but Charlie replied without even looking at me.
If you don't like me, then why give me hope?
Why the emotionless tone? It felt like he turned into a completely different person. Afraid, I kept quiet, not daring to blurt out so much as a word. I'd be home soon and away from this suffocating atmosphere. But as Charlie drove, I noticed how the surroundings became stranger and stranger. This is definitely not the way to the dormitory. Finally, the car stopped at an abandoned construction site.
Luna, get out of the car.
Sensing his irritable tone, I did as he said.
You can stay here until you've figured out that we're destined for each other. Then call me.
I watched in horror as he drove away and left me there. I was all alone, in the middle of nowhere. Panicked, I called Margot for help, but as soon as she picked up, my phone ran out of power. I explored the area, but it was completely deserted. Would I be stuck here forever without anyone knowing? It was getting late. I'd barely eaten or drank anything all day, and this felt hopeless. I burst into tears, and then everything felt dark around me. I woke up to the bright lights of the hospital. Margot jumped in to give me a hug, then explained what had happened. Turns out that night after I called her, she checked my location on Snapchat and saw that I was in some deserted place. Sensing something was off, Margot and the dormitory manager went to find me and took me to the hospital. Charlie was disciplined and detained for a month for the trouble he'd caused. After that horrible experience, I talked a lot with Margot. She comforted me, encouraged me, and said that it seemed like my desire to please others stemmed from childhood trauma. Perhaps it was my mother's words. If you want me to love you, you have to be nice. That created the character I have now. I couldn't continue to let the past consume me. That summer, when I returned home to see my mom, together, we poured out our feelings and faced our problems. I finally figured out that being nice to people wasn't a bad thing, but agreeing to things just to avoid disappointing people isn't the correct thing to do at all. Now, with Margot's help, I'm step by step learning to say no to things I don't want to do, 'cause life's way too short to say yes to everything. Don't you think?
You are probably wondering why all eyes are on us. This is nothing new. Actually, this pretty much always happens when we walk through school together. Look, they're truly the high school version of Kim K and Paris Hilton, aren't they? Agreed. They're quite charming. Yeah, that's us. I'm Robin, and the Hilton to my Kardashian is Allison, my BFF. Don't let her snooty look fool you. She's actually a really nice girl who's always there for me. I never had to worry about a thing being with her. We've basically been inseparable since forever. Ugh, Candace, you so did that on purpose. Oops, sorry. It's just too hard for my eyes to notice something as lame as you. Oh, really? So it has nothing to do with the fact you're afraid I'll take your cheerleading spot and beauty queen title? As if. You're no competition for me. This wasn't a new thing. Because Allison is so beautiful and talented, she often gets into altercations with the jealous mean girls. Now, thanks to the Candace drama, we're late for class. We were hurrying along the corridor when suddenly Allison stopped. A poster caught our eyes. It was for the contest to find the new cheerleading captain. Perfect! I can't wait to win and wipe that smug grin off Candace's face. You're gonna register too? Of course I am. I'm gonna teach that girl a lesson. Just you wait and see. Oh, snap. The truth is, I had also signed up for the competition and was waiting for the right time to tell Allison, but who knew she would suddenly become so determined to win this? If Allison found out I was going to be her rival, what would she think? Oh, what should I do? I don't want to upset her, but I really need to win this competition too. Why, you ask? It's for one person. It was him, Steve, the basketball team captain, and also Allison's cousin. I've had a huge crush on him, but the problem is that he's not exactly short on fangirls, including Candace. I'd never be as forward as her, so I just watched him from afar. But what if I'm no longer a nobody and become the cheerleading captain? Then Steve would notice me, and I'd be confident enough to open my heart to him. Right? But things were way too difficult when I have to face up to not only Candace, the resident mean girl, but also Allison, my BFF. Great! It's true what they say. Putting something off will definitely come to bite you eventually. As I was having lunch with Allison in the cafeteria, Candace and her friends stopped in front of our table. So, you think you can compete with us? Go on then. Eat up and grow strong, little girl. If you have a problem with me, then deal with me. Leave my friend alone. Okay, princess. Not everything is about you. I'm talking to her. Oh, wait. Look at this lost puppy. Hasn't Robin right here told you that she's also competing for the cheerleading captain position? Then Candace and her friends left, leaving me to face Allison's surprise and anger. I was planning to... You really want to compete against me? I just want to try. Wow. I've never expected you to stab me in the back like this. Unbelievable! Then she stormed off, leaving me there feeling dumbfounded, staring at my ruined lunch. I know I should have told her in the first place, but her reaction was way worse than I expected. For the rest of that day, I couldn't find her anywhere. Not at school, not at her house. So before going to bed, I texted her saying how sorry I was, and that I also had my side of the story, which I would tell her all about, but only after the contest. This was just a little misunderstanding. My awesome Allison would forgive me by the break of dawn, right? But nope. After that, Allison started treating me like I was invisible. No matter how hard I tried to talk to her, she wouldn't listen and just said, I don't need any explanation, backstabber. Drop out of the contest, then we'll talk. Drop out? No way! I mean, I really need this. And, hang on, why couldn't I try out? So what? I kept it a secret from her. Was I supposed to tell her every single thing that I did? It was so upsetting to see us falling apart like this. But I had to sort out my priorities too. So as heartbreaking as it was, I had to put aside this temporarily broken friendship to strive for the biggest goal right now. The captain title. I poured all my focus into cheer practice and often stayed late so I could hone my skills. All my hard work paid off when the teacher complimented my technique. Meanwhile, Allison only received negative feedback. I turned to give her an encouraging smile, but she gave me a hateful look back. Did she think I was the cause of her poor form or what? I was about to leave when Allison walked in. I said hi, but she just ignored me. Seeing that, Candace didn't miss her chance to mock us. Being betrayed by your best friend must suck. Oh dear, if it was me, I wouldn't be able to go to school. Allison angrily slammed the locker door shut and walked straight out of there, while Candace and her friends were laughing. Ugh, they were the worst. The day of the competition finally came and I was so nervous. But hang on, I couldn't spot Allison anywhere. I was trying to look for her when I heard my name over the loudspeaker. It's my turn already. I was backstage on standby when suddenly I heard someone talking about Allison having an accident and not being able to attend the competition. Oh my god, Allison. Is she okay? But before I could run over to ask them more questions, I was pushed out to the stage. The music was already playing, but I felt too overwhelmed and anxious to start. Sensing my nerves, the whole stand gave me a round of applause to cheer me on. I looked down at the audience and took a deep breath, tried to concentrate, and started my performance. As soon as the music ended, the whole room burst into endless applause. The judges nodded and smiled at me. I was too worried about Allison to celebrate, so right after my performance, I rushed over to her house to check. But she didn't welcome me at all. How dare you show your face here? Not after what you did! What do you mean? I heard that you fell, so I rushed here right after the competition. Stop the act. I know you snuck up behind me and pushed me yesterday. Thanks to you, I had to quit the contest. What is she saying? Allison disappeared off upstairs. I rushed over to help her, but she pushed me over. Go away! We're not friends anymore. I was so upset that I burst into tears, and when I got up from the ground, I saw Steve standing at the bottom of the stairs. Did he see it all? I was so embarrassed that I fled as quickly as possible. And things didn't stop getting worse. I've never been so scared to go to school before in my life. It's all thanks to the school forum post accusing me of pushing Allison. Now my voting rank has dropped, and kids I don't even know are giving me dirty looks. Suddenly, Steve came up from nowhere and started talking to me.
Allison hasn't been in a right mood recently. I'm sorry on her behalf.
This was not a dream, right? Steve had never bothered with me before, so why now?
For you, this is a lucky pouch containing feng shui gemstones. If you wish for something, confess to the pouch a sin of yours, and the wish will come true. It's proportional to each other. The bigger the sin, the grander the wish. But use it carefully, as either opened or overused, it will weaken its energy.
I watched as Steve turned his back and left. This was such a sweet thing for him to do, especially as everyone else was treating me like I was a walking plague cloud or something. But did this pouch really have magic powers? I guess there's only one way to find out, right? I call upon the magical powers of this pouch to confess that I purposely hid the flashy dress Mom bought me, then lied that I'd lost it so I wouldn't have to wear it. I'm so sorry. I wish I'll get a good grade for my chemistry test tomorrow so she'll be happy. After making the wish, I carefully put it in my backpack, hoping tomorrow during the test it would work. But no, the last question was pretty much impossible. I sighed, thinking the A was about to slip out of my hand, when suddenly Kevin, the smartest guy in class, threw me a piece of paper when the teacher didn't notice. I stealthily opened it. Whoa! It was the answer to that one question I had left. I quickly filled in my paper without thinking any further. A few days after, I got my test results, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw an A in front of me. It must be the powers of the magic pouch, as normally Kevin didn't even talk to me. Fascinating. And so, I made a few more wishes, and they all came true. Once I even confessed that I accidentally spilled water and damaged my computer, and wished Mom would buy me a new one. Unbelievably, 2 days later, Mom bought me a MacBook and said it was an early birthday present. This pouch was a miracle, so it was time I used it for my most important wish. I call upon the magical powers of this pouch to confess that I kept this secret from Allison and practiced every night, then signed up for the cheerleader competition. I want to win just because I long for Steve's attention and to gain the confidence to confess to him. Please help her recover quickly, and for us to make up and be as close as ever. After wishing, I breathed a sigh of relief. It felt good to finally get this all off my chest. The next day after school, I was pretending to be walking past the basketball court as usual when Steve called me over and handed me a bottle of juice. Looks like the pouch really exerts its power.
Actually, Robin, there's no magic. I just snuck a MIDI recorder in that pouch to figure out if you were the one to mess with Allison. I'm sorry.
What? In that lucky pouch is a mini recorder? So it also means he heard everything, including my love confession? I blushed cherry red and didn't know how to react, when he suddenly sighed.
Hey, do you suspect anyone? I still want to find out who the culprit is.
Candace? She has a grudge against Allison.
Candace. Then I have a way. See you around.
Since I found out that Steve knew I liked him, I've been wondering why he didn't give me a reaction back. Maybe his silence is rejection? As soon as I entered the cafeteria, I saw the crowd rushing around. Oh my god. It's Steve and Candace with linked arms. Wait, what was that in her hand? It sure looked a lot like a lucky pouch. Could it be? While Candace wasn't paying attention, Steve turned his head around, smiled, then winked at me. Oh, that's it. Steve was just acting so he could get information from her. The day after, Steve invited me to the treehouse in his garden to listen to Candace's recording. But it turns out, Candace was not the culprit that caused Allison's accident either. She just admitted to some nonsense slurs and pranks and wished to win the championship, and for Steve to love and spoil her.
Then who is it? Somehow Allison keeps insisting it's you.
How about you give Allison the pouch? I want to listen to her feelings too. And so, the magic pouch was also passed on to Allison. The next evening, after my late practice, Steve and I went to the park nearby to listen to Allison's confessions. Dear Magic Spell Pouch, I actually didn't fall. Robin was getting so good and I wasn't confident that I'd win and losing to her would be humiliating. So I spread the news that I had an accident so I didn't have to participate and blamed everything on her. Everyone loves her. Even Steve has a secret crush on her. While me... What? That means it was all planned by Allison? And Steve had a crush on me? Is that true? My thoughts are all over the place right now. Then before I could blurt out a word, he took my hand to go to Allison's house.
What is this, Allison? Can you explain this?
So what? Why does such an ordinary girl like her get so many good things? I deserve it, not her. Allison, why? Without even letting me finish my sentence, Allison slammed the door shut. At least I knew the truth now, right? Even though it sure was ugly. I really have nothing left now. I lost my best friend, and with only one more day until the voting for the contest comes to an end, it looks like Candace will win. But as soon as I stepped into the classroom, everybody rushed over to me and waved their phones in my face. Huh? Oh, there's a new post on the school forum. It turns out that Allison shared the truth, and even apologized to me. I knew it. My bestie is always a very kind person. Thanks to that, my vote soared and got to first place. And this is the moment I've been waiting for. The new leader of our cheerleading team is Robin Smith. Through my ecstatic grin, I noticed someone standing from afar. It's Allison. Seeing me, she hurried away, but luckily I was able to catch her up. Allison, thank you. I'm sorry for hurting you like that. No, I'm the one at fault. Although it was awkward at first, we soon got past this, then managed to talk straight to each other. Allison apologized for everything, then she congratulated me and gave me a hug. Oh, right. Now that I'm the winner, I can confidently confess my feelings to Steve, right? No need, because he already did that to me. Thank you for staying beside me. But, Steve, I still wonder how that bag could fulfill all my wishes. The other things are understandable, but the MacBook was unreal.
Yeah. I may have called your mom pretending to be the teacher and told her that a MacBook for studying was compulsory.